A few years ago, I showed you guys how to make blade width, what I call shims, at the table saw to account for the width of the blade for joinery cuts and to use as splines and keys for miter joints. I had a commenter request that I show a way to do that exact same thing, but on a sliding miter saw, so that's what we're gonna do today. Now I'm going to tell you guys ahead of time, your success here is going to greatly depend on the quality of material that you're using, how well it's been milled up, and then also the quality of your machine, because it is a miter saw after all, and getting very precise things with a miter saw can be kind of a challenge, but it's also going to depend on, honestly, how well you can use the machine you have. Also, miter saws are designed to make crosscuts, not rip cuts. That means they have cross-cut blades on them. But we need to make a rip cut if we want to use these little shims as splines or keys for miter joints. So do yourself a favor, use a clean, sharp blade, and you'll have a little bit better success as well. And lastly, the material that you choose to set this up in the beginning is also going to make a big difference on how well this turns out. Use something stable, and also maybe use something that you can just label and throw in a drawer later, and then that way you can save it to set yourself up next time so you don't have to go through this whole thing all over again. Now, this material can be just about any length or width. The one key thing that you have to pay attention to is that the long edges of at least one of them need to be parallel, because we're going to flip one of them over, which means we're going to be referencing off of both sides. And if they're not parallel, it's not going to work very well. I'm going to take one of these pieces, I'm going to secure it to the table using a clamp or tape, and then I'll cut off a small sliver to square it up. With that piece still clamped down, I'll slide over a second piece, gently butting it into the first piece, and then I'll square up the end of that one as well. Now we need to make a non-through cut to establish the width of the blade. To do this, we're gonna have to set the depth stop so that we end up leaving about 1/8 of an inch of material at the bottom of the cut, and we need to move the material away from the fence just enough so that the bottom of the blade will cleanly cut to that depth through the entirety of the cut. This means you're going to have a temporary spacer between your material and your fence to be able to push the material far enough away. I'm gonna flip that second piece over, laying it on top of a scrap piece to elevate it. I'm gonna butt the shoulder of that cut right up against the end of the first piece. Then, while carefully holding it in that exact place, I can unclamp the first piece and replace it with a stop block of my choosing. Now that stop block is positioned exactly one blade's width away from the blade, and if I make a cut, I get a shim perfectly sized to my blade.